First of all, I want to say that I heard on the news in the night that Art Bell died, and they didn't say how he died. He was 72 years old, and it breaks my heart because he was one of the first to tell the truth about what's really going on with the government, etc., and in the world. I remember when I first came to Roanoke and I was living on the Appalachian Trail off of Mountain Pass Road and Travel nearby, and starving and freezing. And I had this group of hikers, backpacks, and all that came up. I guess it was second, third year I'd been up there. And they told me they were from Canada and from, I believe they said Northern Virginia, but from Virginia. And they told me, they came up and they talked to me. They spent the night. There's quite a few of them. But they told me that to listen to George Norrie, that he was telling some of the things that I was telling. So their point, I don't know, in being there, obviously to support me, but no one has helped me financially. In fact, it's been the other way around. I've had to eat nothing, and it's really bizarre. I could do a book on all that, living on the trail, or what's been done to me since I did a book in 76 till 80 when I was almost killed about mind control murders. And one of them, the shooting of Larry Flynt, was done next door in Lawrenceville when I was doing the book in Marietta, Georgia. And later I'm flown out to Flint's, and I'll be jumping around here. When I was out there during the campaign, he told me that, he showed me, I was out there twice, October of 83, and he helped me in the campaign to replace U.S. Congressman Dr. Larry McDonald, who, in an endorsement editorial April of 84, Mr. Flynt says that I know who's responsible for his shooting in Lawrenceville, and Dr. Congressman Larry McDonald, he named, was one of them he named. Now, the plane carrying McDonald went, the KAL went down in 1983, August the 31st. Supposedly he was on it. But there's a question about if they took the whole plane down, 261st plus passengers, to make it appear that way, because one of the things also is Nixon, Richard Nixon, former president, was on that flight, and he was taken off just before it took off from Juneau, crashed. It was en route to Seoul, South Korea. So this is how I came to be out at Mr. Flynt's twice in October of 83, and he helped me in that campaign. He also told me, and I wondered why at the moment, I knew about his shooting. I knew it was in the patterns. I knew it was a programmed shooter that shot him. But he knew, well, when he sent me a ticket the first time, which would have been October the 1st, I believe, of 83, from Atlanta out there, when I came into his home, his library, he said, I know all there is to know about you. I know that they were going to send you back a vegetable. Well, I thought, my gosh, he really does know, because April Fool Day of 80, they almost did. Send me back meant back to England. And I started finding out about my kidnapping, and it all made sense then. It wasn't just the book, the reason all this was happening or had. It was because of who I am and who my father is and who kidnapped me and all that. The Illuminati kidnapped me. That's the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, members of my own family, especially George the Illegal Six, who the Illuminati took down my father with character assassination, and they installed George, who claimed he was reluctant. He couldn't wait to grab it. He helped sell out his own brother and kidnap his niece, me. He helped the Illuminati. So um, I can go on and on. I'm tired. Um, so where am I going with this video? I put up so many, and over the years, my father, Edward VIII, it kills me to think of what's being done to him still after all these years. He refused to go along and take orders with the Illuminati. So they took him down with character assassination. He was married to my mom, Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, Windsor, from Madison, Wisconsin, a school teacher, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. They were still married and alive October the 20th of 86, and that's for sure. A double imposter married Wallace Simpson. And all that garbage that has popped up today and still being used and using my father's name, which is a lie, is going on with Meghan Markle and with Harry. The marriage, the wedding that's supposed to take place May the 19th. I don't know why I had July the 19th in mind, but it's May the 19th. All this money being spent by a woman, Elizabeth, who is illegal. Her father's illegal. She's always known about my kidnapping, who I am, about my mother, about the double marrying Wallace Simpson. She's a co-conspirator in it. Her whole family and more of my family. And let me say there were some good in my family, and since I've already put up one of them several times, and I hesitated before I did it, I'm going to put it up again because his name was Count von Spiegelfeld, and he was German. I know. I met him personally. I can tell, and anybody can check it out. He was there to help me. So were a lot of other Germans, and my country, a lot of my country. About my close relatives there, I don't know. My grandfather George, Mary, my grandmother, I don't know if history's telling that right, but if they are, they're the sorriest excuse for grandparents I've ever heard of, or of being a father. Now, saying that, and I'm glad I got that out, anybody that would do their son the way they did my father and my mother, and then to their granddaughter, and the day I was born Victoria II, heir to the British Crown. There were legal papers drawn up that were legal. My father never meant to give up his post as king. They forced him out with character assassination, using a double to run around and do all these crazy things that were told to be my father when it was a total lie. The double, or at least one of them, imposter, went on. They became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Can you believe all this? Because it's just a part of this. He became the governor of the Bahamas, and he committed so many crimes there. And none of these people, the truth, Winston Churchill knew all about it. He burned the Windsor files, my birth, my father and mother being married. And today this is being brought up and accusing my father and naming him, calling him horrible names. When you're talking about an imposter and you're taking down and leaving history as crucifying a most beautiful man. He never sold his country out. You kidnapped his daughter, and you left him a pauper, so to speak. My mother had money. I have to start saying, and hopefully they'll keep my grandparents there were deceased, of course, when I was born. But at least maybe they would not have denied me. I know they wouldn't have. Now, I want to slip this in here. I just put up, I had, was legal to, I have to say legal, has this, to post on Queen Victoria's, I don't know if this is going up. Yeah, Queen Victoria's granddaughters. So I put up one of the videos telling some of this about my kidnapping and all this, and I am Victoria II, the day I was born, the minute, the second, and it was legal, so they had to kidnap me. And George the Sixth, illegal, Elizabeth's father, was more than ready with JFK. His father had been appointed ambassador to England in 36. Listen at the dates when my father became king, and he was married to my mom. She was queen. And then in the same year, 37, is when Wallace Simpson married the impostor and became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. So they've always known. The close family's always known. Now then, whether there's been a few of the close family, I'm talking about my father's brothers, okay, the immediate family there, and some of the, well, later their children are going to know about it. You don't keep that secret. They all knew it. The Romanovs, who I admire, and they had the Romanov family destroyed. Tell you who was, it's not funny, it's ludicrous. The From up here in Stanton, Virginia, Woodrow Wilson, the president. Check it out, because he was part of it. And by the way, this Victoria's granddaughters, let me get back to that. If they cared to hoot about anything, the truth, rather than the jewels and the crowns and all this crap, rather than the real monarchy, and that would be me, the real monarch, they would tell it. They deleted me. I put up a video the other day, and you wouldn't believe the rash of ugly, horrible letters I got back, comments. And then, would you believe they deleted me off of it? Every bit of it was deleted. The video, what I put up with it, all of it, and the comments deleted. I haven't forgotten them. She is my grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, and I was named after, and I hope to God the lady would not share any of your views, because you're sick. You call me names, I've done nothing but tell the truth. So help me God. So Anastasia was the real one that was murdered up here in Charlottesville, Virginia, next to Stanton, Virginia, where Woodrow Wilson became president. He was born there. So I can't put all this together here. I put it up on YouTube and Facebook. And I put this one up. Why? Today I've been putting it up over and over. I've been telling about having an autoimmune disorder. I'm allergic to chemicals and toxic when I'm enclosed in a tight space. I should have been able to live a normal life. Instead, especially when I come up here in 86, and my parents were still alive then. The double died in 72 and was buried at Frogmore, Windsor. When I came up here, I mean, I was a target. I was shut down. I couldn't get a place to live. I lived on the Appalachian Trail. And I guess I'm finally just going to, well, I couldn't get jobs or anything, and I lived up there. And I started putting all this up on YouTube and Facebook, and I've really forgotten where I'm going now. I think this is the first time I've done that. But the chemicals. I've been run from place to place with chemicals. I left Mr. Flint's out there the last time in 83 in the campaign, and he said to me, there's no room in the inn. Take that for whatever it means. He showed me also, I meant to say this, while I was out there, he showed me, and remember, I had just met him. I knew who tried to kill him, who shot him and paralyzed him and killed his attorney, and the judge. They did a number on him. But I never knew I'd be flown out there, and he's telling me he knows all there is to know about me. And while I was there, I believe it was the last time, I know it was, because I was pushing him around in a wheelchair looking for me a room to get into there in his home, where the other time went right to the lily pad room. and had a place to stay. Well, I had money then. I could have gone downtown for a night or two, and maybe I'm trying to laugh. That's how I get through problems that are painful. Anyway, back to this. He took me, I was pushing him around with a wheelchair, and we were going room to room, no, this is filled up. He finally found me a place, of course. But he told me, he showed me galley proofs that were used back then. This is back in '83. And it was about the parody that he was going to publish in Hustler magazine about Jerry Falwell, the Reverend, his Liberty University. I think they've recently changed the name. It's a few miles away in Lynchburg. I say a few miles, I don't know, 40 miles. Anyway, that was a parody. Well, when I'm here, let's fast forward. He furnished me a car for a year. I turned it in. And I ended up on the Appalachian Trail here, living in October of '86. And lo and behold, he is brought here in that suit that Jerry Falwell filed against him in federal court here in Roanoke. And I'm not far away up on the Appalachian Trail, probably about the most 15 miles. I would show people the article endorsement because that was a nice thing, and it told that, some of this. Anyway, excuse me. Oh, what are the chances he shows me that in '83? I end up on the trail, a pauper, and no place to live. Every crime committed against me. He's being sued by Jerry Falwell on the parody. He had showed me the galley proofs. Now then, he didn't come up to see me, and that people would use that. They always, when I would try to show them that, I think that's why they did the endorsement in part, because it's a attention getter. And it gives people a chance to help or walk away, just like the FBI Noe set up in Grottoes. When I had the car parked there, furnished by Hustler magazine, and it was parked because I didn't have money for gas. I was pumping gas and living for my rent there at Reineke's. And Noe walked in. He's a retired FBI agent. And I remember later, he was with my husband at Brown Engineering. They both worked there. Now, he's FBI. And here he is retired, and now he's up in Grottoes and coming in and I pump his gas and all that. He told me on one occasion, he said, they, meaning the FBI, have made it so ludicrous that people know you're telling the truth. They can either help or walk away. Well, they can't walk fast enough. But then Mr. Flint went on the freedom of speech before the Supreme Court. I have never been really free. I've put it up on here, YouTube and Facebook. I have lived in fear. I've got no civil rights. I did have, I was living on the trail then. A guy came up, it was a few days before the 7th of January, which is supposed to be, it's the date of birth, and supposedly. But a guy came up there, and he was in the Army, he said. Anyway, he took me down, and I spent a few nights down there, and that's when the movie Larry Flint was, one of the first showings was here in Roanoke, one of the 7 first showings, I believe I'm correct. I know I am, was shown here in Roanoke. So that was deliberate. That didn't just happen. So where does it all end? Let me say this. Right now, I have been telling about being chased and run from, you could say chased, place to place, no place to live, chemicals being used to run me.